Welcome to Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas, the go-to podcast for aspiring and seasoned leaders in the quick service restaurant industry. Each week, we serve up actionable insights and proven strategies to help you lead smarter, build stronger teams, and elevate operations. Whether you're taking your first steps into leadership or refining your expertise, we're here to fuel your growth and spark big ideas. Let's dig in.
Welcome back to Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. Eric, how are you doing today, sir?
Really good. It's just funny because I think we start the episodes kind of all that way the same way a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So like if you have any suggestions on how to like start the episodes, and it's not that it's wrong or bad. Like,
No, I know.
I love it. I love it. Right? Like welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to welcome you back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thanks for being here.
It is. I am. I'm glad that you. If this is your first time listening, great. Right. We have quite a few episodes out at this point. But if it's your second, third, or you're an avid listener, make sure to subscribe.
Yeah,
right?
and tell your people.
Right.
Tell your group of people, your friends, your family, your coworkers. You know, there's a lot of good stuff in here that pertains to a lot of different people.
And if you are part of our organization, share it with members of our organization as well, because we truly feel that as we do more of these, we're going to get better at them, right? So if you were on the first one, maybe we weren't as good as we are now, and maybe I'm just giving ourselves a pat on the back, but I feel like we're getting better.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, it's just, and honestly, better is a little subjective.
Sure.
With this. Because I feel like as long as we're impacting one person or one person takes something from it, then that's time well spent.
Yeah, and as we've worked together, I feel like we're connecting a lot more.
We are.
And I'm starting to learn a lot more about you than I probably have in the first, 10 years of our relationship. Because it's been about 10 years, right?
Uh-huh.
Jeez.
Almost 11.
Okay. So, in the first 10 years, maybe I've learned more about you, I think, over the past, 6 months than maybe the first 10 years.
Okay.
And I think as we connect with our employees, our team, and each other, right? Like there's something to be said about just building that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, it can be kind of scary or maybe awkward, or you don't know how to connect with people. Yeah. Especially when you're talking like boss, manager, leader, like how does that even work? And it's cool that you say that those 6 months, because I feel also the same way that I'm learning more about you over the last, I'd say probably a year and a half.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's just because we've been working closer together over the last 6 months, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's how do you connect with your peers?
Yeah. And I'm so glad we're doing the episode around this, like connecting with our employees. Because I'm going to tell you, there's times where, and I've known people for a long time, but yet I don't really know much more about them. And I think sometimes we have to walk slow to walk fast, right? Like we have to go through our restaurant and we have to have more meaningful connecting conversations than maybe what we've ever asked of before or what I've ever been. Because I'm going to tell you, Riley, and we've talked prior to the episode and it comes a little bit more naturally to you. So I want to lean into that. I want to know why and how and, more about how it comes so naturally to you. Because for me, it's a process, right? Like I haven't always been good at connecting. It's always been kind of more results driven and, what do I need from you rather than what do I want to know about you? So in your opinion, the naturalness of your, because people do, they connect with you.
Yeah. Well, I would say the biggest thing is I'm always curious. Like I genuinely am. Like I want to know not necessarily what makes people tick, but I want to know about them and what they enjoy doing, what they do in their free time. And especially if I'm trying to connect with them on a leader level, then I can use that information to further build that trust and rapport. And I think that's really where it comes down to for me, is when I'm interacting with people, I want them to know that I care, that I'm listening. People say I'm a good listener, and I'm proud of that. Like I do like to listen to people, and using those skills and being curious about either the people that I interact with or people on my team, my peers. I'm learning more information about them so I can work better with them as well.
So maybe it's just me then and my skill set, but if I stay curious with people, right, it sometimes comes across more of like an interrogation. So maybe that's the military in me, but like,
could be.
So how do you get that curiosity to not be like an interrogation?
That's a great question, Eric. When I talk to people and when I ask them questions, it's got to be a little bit natural. Like you want to find your pace and your cadence with this stuff, but when I meet somebody for the first time, I introduce myself, tell them like a little backstory about what I like doing, just general information about myself. And then I ask them a few questions. The one that I really like is, tell me what you like to do in your free time. And then from there, you can have a whole conversation on that. And then leave that with some information.
Okay. Because usually I just bring up the weather. Right? Like, isn't that the default?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
How about the weather today?
Yeah. I've used the weather sometimes in certain situations. But if it's truly somebody I'm trying to connect with, and that's the other intentionality with what you're trying to do, right? If my goal is to have small talk, then yeah, weather. But if I'm looking to connect with somebody, I need to know some personal stuff. I'm not talking personal, but
well, sure, whatever they're willing to share, I would imagine.
Yes,
yeah.
And I think by asking and by creating that vibe or that culture of I care, like I am genuinely interested in what you have to say and how you live your life. That opens up them and that makes them feel more comfortable with sharing with you. Yeah. And I think that all just goes into being able to lead and manage your team more effectively when you know a little bit more about them.
So it sounds great, right? Like, obviously the concept is there, right? We want to be curious. We want to, talk to our people. We want to connect.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, there's some people who, like, it's really tough for me to find some common ground. So, like, what do you do when you kind of run into those stalemates, or people just maybe don't open up, or they won't necessarily talk to you, right? Like, where do you go from there? How do you find that commonality?
Well, everybody has something in common. It might be 1%, but there's something there. And I think the more you put effort into it, and now obviously you don't want to become the interrogator because that can push them away if they don't feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but create that safe space to where they feel comfortable that they can share without being too specific and without getting into too much detail.
Okay.
And I think looking for common ground, it can be super simple.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned the weather, and as funny as it is, like you could talk about like, what's your favorite season? There's so many questions that could come out of the weather.
Okay.
What's your favorite season? Oh, I love summer too. What do you like to do in the summer?
So yeah, you're right though.
Yeah.
You could build off of that.
Yeah. Sports. Oh, did you catch the game last week?
Yeah.
But okay, cool. You caught the game. Oh, you're talking about the baseball game. Gotcha. I don't personally watch baseball. I watch football. But tell me a little, like, why do you like watching baseball? Yeah. And then you those open-ended questions and get them talking about themselves.
What I've learned too, because I'm going to tell you, I like I said earlier, I haven't always been good at that, or even like the small talk, or like it's just my personality is a CD, right? And it's kind of more results driven. It's not always human based, right? Or that emotional connection type stuff that we're talking about today. So for me, it is a little harder, right? But over the last couple of years, as I've worked on that and I've become more intentional, right? Like you mentioned the word being intentional about connecting with our people. And the more intentional I got and the more curious I got and the more I actually wanted to learn, right? Like the easier it does become. And I'm going to tell you, there's been some really interesting topics that people are like really into. And it opens up this just whole world of things like I knew nothing about. Like there's so many things I know nothing about. And and I don't know about you guys, but like you start mentioning this stuff or you start talking about it, all of a sudden you'll get the ads on social media where like, go buy this, and this. I'm like, thank you. Right? First of all, I love the suggestions. I love when those things pop up in my...
Makes me spend too much money. Amazon. Just, let's do this.
But I liked what you said about it, because it doesn't always have to be even things that we have in common. It could just be trying to be curious about what they enjoy and what makes them tick.
Yeah.
So how do you connect that? How do you, when maybe you really are struggling to find that connection, maybe it is somebody, I mean, let's face it, in the restaurant, there's even language barriers that can really stop us from connecting.
Yeah.
Any suggestions even on that part? Or
I struggle with that.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. The language barrier is hard. I've taken some language classes in the past and nothing ever sticks for me. And that's partly because I don't give it the time that it deserves. But
it's not a wildly important goal.
No.
Okay. Because you were doing like the whole Babbel thing for a little bit,
I was.
right?
Oh, okay. I'm going to get back to it. Yeah.
Right.
But there's tools out there, and I think when you're talking to these people, just a side note is your body language. You can ask these people questions all day, but if your body language is closed off or not, you're not giving eye contact, they're not probably going to want to share with you in the future. Body language, eye contact, and then the tools there's Translate apps all over the place.
Oh, sure.
And I know it might hinder the connection just a little bit because of that, but I still think you're going to be better off with it.
See, I would disagree. I think it builds the connection even more because it shows our team that you're trying, right? Like I was at a restaurant where they literally had a translation app out. Because their kitchen team spoke Spanish, right? And the manager, the shift manager that I was working with, they didn't speak Spanish at all. So they actually had, they had their phone out and they had talked to the team, hey, do you mind, right, if I use this translation app, right? Like they literally put it in the app, do you mind if I use this? And the person on the other end who spoke Spanish was like, yeah, let's do it, right? Like, let's give that a shot. And all of a sudden, they're having this entire conversation over the translation app. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I've ever seen that kitchen team more connected because they're using that resource and they weren't afraid to ask. Like, but you have to be okay with asking. That's really weird. Like, I'm going to tell you, it's kind of weird. Like, hey, do you mind if I use this app to talk to you?
And that's what I'm saying with when I mentioned the connection might be a little bit less. It's just because you're communicating through
technology or whatever.
Right. It's not necessarily as a true experience as if we were like this, know. Because now you respond to me, I got to type my response. I'm looking away from you, and then I, give the translator back. Now you got to. So it's just a little bit different. It's still a connection. It's still better than not.
Yeah.
And so to your point, that team was communicating perfectly with the app. By all means, that's an avenue.
What's great is we have the technology in our restaurants. We have the ability in our restaurants. But that's where we have to be intentional about those connections. Like I'm telling you, there's people that we've worked with for a long, long time, but we might use the language as an excuse not to really connect. And then, maybe they're not meeting the standards, or maybe we get frustrated, or maybe they're not doing exactly what we need them to do. But like, how do we get our team to be more comfortable with those things? I think maybe that's just a question for another day. But like, if you're on this podcast and you're listening to me, I'm going to tell you, like, don't let that fear of that translation app, because I think it's a thing. Like we have a good amount of our employees that are Spanish-speaking employees only, or whatever other language we may have within our four walls. But don't be afraid of that. I've seen it now in action, right? Because we've talked about it before, but I've personally never tried it, until just recently. I've never seen anyone else really. So it was really cool. It was really cool, and it worked.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and like I said, it's better than not connecting at all, and it shows those team members that you do care, that you're trying to connect and trying to communicate with them. And
I think just to kind of circle back even on the connection piece, because people are wanting to share and people want to feel like we're interested in them. So if you actually are and you take the time, and I've heard before, like, as far as other leaders have gone, right? Like in their phone book, if they're saving an address, right? They'll be like, okay, Eric, Jaworski has a podcast, runs this, has 3 daughters, right? Like all of a sudden they'll make some notes about what maybe I was interested in or whatever. That way, when you circle back, you can look to have some of those same connections, because you might not memorize or remember what everybody's always into. Like some people are really good at that.
Yeah.
Like they really are.
I feel like it also depends on your proximity to them. How often do you work with them? Because like anything, the more you see somebody, the more you work with somebody, work around somebody, you're going to remember those things, I feel like, a little bit more.
Yeah.
But that's a great tool, a great tip for people. I need to probably start doing that just with the amount of people that I meet in my ventures. But that now I've got, because it's funny, in business school when I was at college, we had a class or had a professor tell us almost the same thing, but it was more old school. Business cards. You do that, but you write on the business card that connection or that piece of information.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, here's my business card, and you have a conversation. Then you turn around and you write 3 kids, whatever, and now that's in your business card. But it's funny that you said it on the phone now. I like that.
Well, and I would agree. I think when I was in the restaurant, I would imagine this is true today. You're working with people, 5, 10, 20. I mean, like you said, we've been working together a lot more, so we're starting to learn more about each other just naturally, right, through natural conversations. And I think that's just where it's okay to have some of those conversations, and it's okay to build that relationship. It's okay to connect with your employees. Like, yes, you won't necessarily go out and have a beer with them and do all these things, but like,
darn it,
okay, it's okay to have some natural connection there, and I think it's okay because ultimately that's going to help build your employee engagement, right?
For sure.
Like the leaders who connect with their team are going to yield better results. And this isn't about connecting just to get results, right? That's where the genuine, authentic stuff comes in. But naturally, because you're connecting and you're building that engagement, people will want to, once again, they'll want to work for you because they want to, not because they have to. And that's the exciting part about leadership. And the majority of our people, and we've said this before, people are in this business because they like people. Right? Like everyone I talk to, well, I do it for the people. I love coaching. I love seeing people develop. I love seeing people grow. This is just one avenue where if we can make this a better priority to connect and have real authentic relationships, right? I think it's just, it can create waves or move mountains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you think about your team and connecting with everybody on the team, that's going to build that trust and respect and rapport that you have with them. So now all of a sudden when you have a call off or something happens, you've got a team of people that you can rely on because you've made that connection, because you've built that relationship up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard we had a general manager transfer into a restaurant, and we had an employee who, they punched out, they left, but then they came back. So this is a really cool story. They came back and said, hey, I really enjoyed talking to you. I really enjoyed the conversation. I haven't had that in a long time, and anything you need from me, just let me know. You need me to come in on my day off. You need me to do this. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. Because she built a connection right away. It wasn't about the result. It wasn't about the restaurant. It wasn't about what they had or hadn't done. Good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. But she literally went in there and built a connection with her employees, and all of a sudden now people are literally, hey,
Who've
whatever
been there
you need.
for years.
Yeah.
Who've had different leaders over the years. It takes one conversation sometimes, or just even the slight, hey, I'm curious. I want to know more about you. I want to learn more about you. So that's a very cool story.
Organizationally, I think my ask, right, if we could get people who are name tags, it'd be very helpful.
That would be.
But because we have so many employees, it's hard for me. But at the restaurant level, right, we should know who our employees are. We should take some interest in them. We should care about them. And you may have had employees for years where you don't really know them. I think it's okay, though. Like, I think it's okay to go and say, hey, Riley, I know we've been working a long time together, but, like, I don't really know you. What would you like? What would you like to know about me? Right? Like, maybe that'll open the floodgates for people.
Well, and I think you just brought up a good point. Lead with humility. Like, hey, we have worked together for a while, and I don't really know much.
Yeah.
And I apologize for that. So, tell me a little about yourself.
Yeah.
With some of the general managers that I haven't done that with, or some of the new leadership that we have, I've been trying to make it a point to have like just that general chat. Like, hey, again, I'm Riley. This is me. I'm glad you're here. Tell me a little about yourself. Just 15, 20 minutes, but now they have a face to the name, and now I've started building that relationship up. Yeah. So when I ask them to do something,
now hold on, because you don't want to give people just to get at something out of them, right?
Absolutely.
But no, you're right, and I think as we're looking to really accomplish our wildly important goal of reducing turnover, right? We have to be better as leaders in our organization around connecting with our employees. We want engaged employees who care. They don't know how much you care, or they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? Like, nobody cares about my knowledge if I don't show them that I have a little bit of interest in them, if I don't show them that I'm there for them, if I don't show them something that, like, what gets them motivated, what gets them engaged, because it's different for everybody. It's so different for everybody.
That's what I'm saying. Some of these conversations will lead to valuable information on how your team works and how you can use that to run a better team, run a better shift, all that good stuff.
Yep. One day at a time, one person at a time, but it's possible, and it can be a lot easier than what we make of it, and we have to get past some of that surface level sometimes, especially if we're working with people a little bit more, right? Like, I get it, if you see one person once in a great while, there might be more of that surface level, how's the weather type conversation, but yeah, I mean, even translating this into the guest perspective, right? Like, we see some of the same guests all the time, and I'm going to tell you, there are people who I've known from a guest perspective.
I've seen you interact with some guests,
long time, and there are people where I asked their name, or I forgot their name, but now I'm just like, man, what was your name again? I'm so sorry. What was your name again? Hey, I'm Eric, right? Oh, good to see you again, right? And just because there's customers who we see every day where it might be awkward, right? But, like, It's okay to ask.
It's okay.
It's okay to ask their name. It's okay to ask them a little bit about themselves. And I think as we connect with our employees more and we show that we do care, like we have genuine intentionality, like people will want to work for us and with us and accomplish things together. And that's going to be just moving mountains at that point.
So exciting.
It just really can be. So Riley, as we kind of wrap up here, as we look to put a little bow on this, it seems like it really does come naturally to you. So like, what's the one or two takeaways for our team listening today where we can move forward with this? We can actually have better connection.
So I would say for me, right, and everybody's different. You're going to find your own way. But for me, my best tip or advice would be stay curious about who you're working with and your team. And then also, lead with a little bit of humility. It's okay to go to your team tomorrow and be like, hey, I don't know you guys. Let's talk about it. But we don't want to be interrogating. We don't want to ask. We don't want to bombard them with, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite candy? Like, we don't want to get to that point. But with anything that we do, how can we start a little bit at a time? Maybe you pick somebody and you say, hey, I'm sorry, we haven't really got to know each other. We've been working for a little bit. Yeah. Tell me one question or ask them one question.
Right. And I think everybody wants to try to build, at least, what I hear a lot in this industry is we want to treat our people like family, right? But like, how are they family if we don't know?
Yeah.
How are they family if we're not being curious? How are they family if we can't find some common ground there? So this will be interesting. It's going to be an interesting exercise, and I think everyone here should give it a shot. It might be a little awkward at first. It might be a little interrogating at first, but I just know over the last couple of years, as I've been more intentional, it becomes easier, right? I become a little bit more relaxed about it. And, as the example, I've learned a lot about you, and I think, just that connection, we're able to really give each other feedback and move forward as a team.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys. Make sure to listen, learn, and lead. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.